For those not in the know, Animorphs, which is going to make my spell checker go nuts, I can tell, was a series of 54 books and 10 companion books whereupon 5 humans, Jake, Marco, Cassie, Rachel and Tobias, and 1 alien, nicknamed Axe, obtain the ability to transform into any animal they touch, naming themselves Animorphs, a contraction of animal morphers. They use their ability to battle a secret infiltration of Earth by a parasitic race of aliens resembling large slugs called Yeerks, that can take any living creatures as a host by entering and merging with their brain through the ear canal. The Animorphs fight as a guerrilla force against the Yeerks, who are led by Visser 3. The books have themes of horror, war, dehumanization, sanity, morality, innocence, leadership, friendship, family, as well as growing up. I owned every single one growing up and loved the whole series. Whilst there was a formula to each book, it never treated its audience as fools, and naturally given the series themes, the books got a lot darker towards the end, but I'm not here to talk about the books. I'm not here to talk about the TV series, which ran for 2 series from September 15th, 1998 until October 8th, 1999, as it hasn't aged terribly well. It's on YouTube and various digital providers, but I don't really recommend it. No, what I want to talk about is that in June 2020, it was formally announced that an Animorphs film would be produced by Scholastic Entertainment and Picture Start, the latter run by Eric Feig and Lucy Catada. Script development will be overseen by Caitlin Friedman and Royce Reeves Darby. Catherine Applegate and Michael Grant, the original authors, will also be attached to the development of the film. Now, details at this point are extremely sketchy. No casting, budget, filming locations, etc. All the details I could find were in the previous paragraph. But as a long-time fan of the books, right up until this very day in fact, I thought I would offer some points that I think might help. Even though I'll be there in the front row no matter what, I want this film to help inspire a new generation to pick up the books, and the best way to do that is to make a good film to act as a springboard for a new generation of fans. And with that said, here are some suggestions for the new Animorphs film. Animorphs is a series about children. The books, they're all 11 to 14 at the beginning, it's not exactly specific, fighting an alien invasion by turning into animals. And I mean aliens. There are no jobbing actors with bits of plasticine glued to their foreheads here. So for any film to do the book's justice, you're going to need a ton of CGI anyway, so making this animated would allow greater freedom for the studio making the film. Now, whilst I prefer traditional animation, I think it ages better and avoids the uncanny valley so common of CGI human characters, I have no issue with it being straight CGI as long as it looks good. Make no mistake, this series, whilst aimed at children, featured frequent bloody violence, people being saved against their will, and constant debates about the morality of the main character's actions. In a bid to capture the spirit of the books, I really truly believe that a 15 rating, or local equivalent, would be most appropriate. As stated, the Animorphs series consists of over 50 books, and as I highly doubt that all 50 will be made into films, Godzilla has the most entries in a film franchise ever, and he's only in the 30s, which means that the film has a lot of ground to cover. You've got to set up the world, introduce 5 main characters, the villains, secondary characters, and telling a story in and of itself whilst introducing new fans to the world without alienating current fans. Now, I have seen many films fail at this. Looking at you, Artemis Fowl, probably for the last time ever, and desperately want this film to walk that tightrope. Keep it 90 minutes to 2 hours long and don't add so many ingredients that you spoil the dish. Animorphs has a cult following. It's clearly devoted, but it's also clearly small. Any film studio looking at this is going to think that it needs a budget of 200 to 250 million plus advertising, which is usually the same again. This is a recipe for a financial bomb, as we have seen happen so many times when dreams outpace reality. Keep the budget below 100 million and then allow it to grow with future films. I want to see Jake, Marco, Cassie, Rachel, Tobias and Axe on the silver screen for many moons to come, but a flop of a first film will end this deep, rich universe before it starts. A key way to make sure that any film makes money today is to look outside the film. T-shirts, backpacks, toys, games, as well as the books themselves in audio, visual and traditional format, and more will all be needed to convince whatever studio they get to make this to keep going. My wallet's open and ready, but I need something to buy. I know, this is supposed to be things to do with a movie, but when you think that there are over 50 books to draw from, as well as the slightly formulaic nature of said books, making an animated TV show which would allow every story its moment in the sun, as opposed to having to choose at best 20% of the stories, which in later stories, assuming we get that far, is going to make life interesting for the scriptwriters. A TV show with episodes roughly 50 minutes to an hour long, with maybe a cliffhanger every now and then, just makes more sense to me. Actually, what happened to cliffhangers? They were cool. I miss them. I know this is early days, I know that this film could enter production hell for, as the late great Douglas Adams put it, getting a movie made in Hollywood is like trying to grill a steak by having a succession of people coming into a room and breathing on it. But this is a steak that many people have been waiting to eat for the longest time. We're happy to wait a little longer to make sure it comes out perfectly ready to eat. But what do you think? What advice would you offer to help this film be made and do well? I can't tell you who I am, but if you can, please like, share and subscribe.